You're not going to believe this. Seriously, what people are saying about Kyle Hamilton sounds almost made up. Just imagine a Ravens player being called a guy who could dominate the entire NFL, snag Defensive Player of the Year honors, beating out monsters like Micah Parsons and TJ Watt. Well, that's exactly what's being said, and this isn't some random guess. There's an analyst betting big that our number 14 is going to make history in 2025. But hold on, it's not just about Hamilton shining on his own. There's a bigger plan behind this, a new piece in the puzzle that's about to make the Ravens' defense even scarier. And if everything falls into place, what this team could do might terrify the whole league. The question is, can we really believe this wild prediction, or is it just hype? Stick around till the end because I'm going to break down exactly how this story started, why it's shocking Ravens fans, and what it means for the team's future. And I promise, once you see the full picture, you'll never look at Hamilton the same way again. So, let's dive into what might be one of the biggest stories of the season. Imagine waking up one day and seeing an analyst say Kyle Hamilton will be the best defender in the NFL in 2025. That's exactly what happened to Ravens fans. Connor Burke, who follows the team closely, dropped this bold prediction without hesitation, putting our number 14 at the very top of the defensive world. That's no small claim, because Defensive Player of the Year is the most coveted trophy for anyone playing defense. It's like crowning the absolute king of tackles, coverages, and game-changing plays. The wildest part? This award almost always goes to pass rushers or linebackers. Those are the guys piling up sacks, taking down quarterbacks, and stealing the spotlight. Safeties usually get overlooked in this race, even when they're monsters on the field. So hearing someone put Hamilton this high up, that's a massive vote of respect. It means he's not just seen as a good player back there, but as the heart and soul of the Ravens defense, the guy who makes everything tick. Burke even went further and said, in his opinion, Hamilton might be the most important defender on any defense in the entire NFL. Not just the Ravens, but the whole league. Feel the weight of that? It's like saying no other defender makes a bigger impact for their team than our number 14. If you follow the NFL, you know there are huge names out there, Micah Parsons, TJ Watt, Myles Garrett, and yet Hamilton is placed right up there with them, maybe even above. And here's where it gets even more interesting. Burke didn't just pull this out of thin air. He pointed out exactly what could turn Hamilton into the most feared player on any defense. The arrival of Malaki Starks, the rookie who promises to mess with opposing offenses and open up even more room for Hamilton's talent to shine. That's what we're going to talk about next. You know that saying, 2 is better than 1? That might be exactly what the Ravens found with Kyle Hamilton and Malaki Starks. Connor Burke explained it perfectly. Rookie Starks is just as versatile as Hamilton, which means the two can switch roles constantly and completely confuse opposing offenses. That's a huge gift for the defensive coordinator, who can mix up positions and create packages that have quarterbacks shaking before the snap. The best part? What it does for Hamilton himself. With Starks on the field, Hamilton can play closer to the line of scrimmage. That's where he does his biggest damage. There, he can rush the quarterback, shut down the run game, cover short routes, and pop up in surprise blitzes. He basically gets unleashed to hunt the ball, and nobody does that better. It's like putting a giant leash on a pit bull and letting him loose at just the right moment. Another thing, Malaki Starks isn't just any rookie. He comes in with the reputation of being one of the best defenders in college and has a quick football IQ that lets Hamilton trust him deep in the secondary. That creates a dangerous duo for opponents, because if the quarterback hesitates, there's always one of them ready to pick off the ball or break up the play. And honestly, who would want 2 weapons like that on the same field? But none of that matters without production to back up the hype, right? That's why what Hamilton has done in recent seasons is so crucial to this whole story. And it's exactly that solid foundation that has so many people believing he could be the best defender in the NFL. Let's take a look at those numbers. When we talk about Kyle Hamilton, we're not just talking potential. He's already shown he can deliver on the field and justify all this excitement. Last season, for example, the guy racked up an incredible 107 tackles, 8 passes defended, 2 forced fumbles, and earned an insane 90.1 grade from Pro Football Focus. That's elite-level stuff, you only see from the best of the best. No wonder he made the Pro Bowl again, his second straight trip. If we rewind to 2023, he was already putting on a show. 81 tackles, 3 sacks, for interceptions, 13 passes broken up, and even a defensive touchdown. That complete package earned him first-team All-Pro honors, a recognition reserved for only the absolute top players. If you follow the NFL, you know that's basically a seal saying this guy is top 5 at his position, no questions asked. What's even cooler is how fast he's improved. As a rookie, he was already solid with 62 tackles and some big plays. But since then, it's been nothing but upward, gaining confidence, mastering the Ravens system, and becoming more dangerous every game. Now, any offense facing the Ravens has to be wary, because damage can come in so many ways, from a blitz, a perfect coverage, or a hard tackle in the middle of the field. But even with all that, there's one more challenge in his path: his position. In the NFL, safety's winning Defensive Player of the Year is almost unheard of, and that's exactly what we're going to dive into next, how big of an obstacle that really is.
All right, we're already past the halfway point of this video, but before we continue, I noticed you haven't left a like yet. It's really important because it helps YouTube keep showing you my content so I can keep bringing you the best news about the Baltimore Ravens. So go ahead and hit that like button. It's free and it really helps. Thanks. Now let's get back to it.
If you take a quick look at NFL history, you'll see just how rare it is for a safety to win Defensive Player of the Year. In fact, you can count on one hand how many safeties have ever taken home the award. The last was the legendary Troy Polamalu back in 2010. Before him, there were Ed Reed and Dick Anderson. That's a long time ago, and it shows how much this award tends to be dominated by pass rushers and linebackers who rack up sacks. There's a clear reason for that. Those guys on the front lines constantly make highlight reels, crushing quarterbacks and totally shifting the momentum of games. Safeties, no matter how dominant, often work quietly in ways that don't always show up in basic stats. They might shut down a side of the field, force offenses to change plays, but that doesn't always translate into big numbers. And let's be honest, award votes usually favor the loudest playmakers. But Kyle Hamilton has something different going for him. He's not your typical safety hanging back deep. He's a hybrid, playing 1,000 roles and impacting every area on the field. That versatility makes it easier to convince voters that he's just as, if not more, valuable than a guy who just racks up sacks. If he keeps this up, piling tackles, defended passes, turnovers, and game-changing plays, he could break this long-standing taboo. Now think about it. If he really pulls this off, he won't just be the NFL's best defender this year. He'll cement his place in Ravens history alongside the greatest monsters who ever wore that jersey. And it's that legacy in Baltimore that we need to talk about next to wrap up this story. The truth is, if Kyle Hamilton manages to win Defensive Player of the Year, it won't just be a huge milestone for his career. It'll be a landmark moment for the entire Ravens franchise. Baltimore breeds defense, building its identity around legendary defenders. And you can't talk about the Ravens without thinking of Ray Lewis and Ed Reed. Seeing a safety take that kind of spotlight again would be like reliving the purest DNA of this franchise. It would also send a powerful message to the whole NFL. It would prove that Baltimore still produces exceptional defenders, sets the physical tone of the game, and intimidates every offense that steps on the field. The Ravens' reputation as a hard-nosed defense would come alive even more, refreshed by Hamilton's tackles and leadership. For rivals, it'd be a constant warning. Facing the Ravens means facing the best offensive player of the season. What's even more impressive is Hamilton's age. He's only 24 years old and already carries 2 Pro Bowls, an All-Pro selection, and seasons full of clutch plays. That means he hasn't even hit his peak yet, which has everyone in Baltimore dreaming about what's still to come. If he keeps this pace, he's set to be the face of this defense for a full decade, demanding respect just by lining up across the line. In doing so, Hamilton is carving out a path that could place him side by side with the greatest legends to ever wear that uniform. It's no exaggeration to imagine that, years from now, he'll be revered just as much as Ray Lewis and Ed Reed are today. And all this historic weight is what makes a potential achievement so special. At the end of the day, What we're looking at is a mix of big expectations and potential history in the making. Kyle Hamilton has already proven he's different. He's shown he can carry the Ravens defense on his back. And now he has a unique chance to break a decade-long taboo for safeties in the NFL. If he really takes home Defensive Player of the Year, it'll put his name in a league that very few reach. And of course, it'll strengthen the defensive tradition that's part of Baltimore's DNA. But what's most exciting is thinking that this could just be the beginning. Hamilton has youth talent and now teammates like Malachi Starks who complement his game to turn the field into a trap for any offense. If that comes together, the Ravens won't just be strong, they'll be absolutely feared. Now, I want to know what you think. Does Kyle Hamilton really have what it takes to break this streak and be crowned the NFL's best defender? And what would that mean for the Ravens' legacy? Drop your thoughts in the comments because this debate definitely needs to keep going.
And if you, just like me, are passionate about the world of football and want to learn more about the Ravens' legacy, don't leave this video without sharing it with that friend who is also a Baltimore Ravens fan and will love this content. See those video suggestions on your screen? The first one was handpicked just for you, and the other is a recommendation from YouTube itself. See you there, and until the next video, go Flock.